Hi everyone, it's Eileen. Welcome back to my channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, please go ahead and take a second and hit that subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. Okay, this video is going to be about my favorite carving tools for carving pottery. And then I'm going to do a little demo at the end where I show you how I use each of the tools. Okay, so my favorite tools right now are the mini ribbon sculpting set from Kemper. My favorite ones in there, it's a pack of 6. My favorite ones are the large triangle and the 2 small loops. And then I use all of them, right? Because let's not be wasteful. So I also use the small triangle, the same place I would use the large triangle. And then the 2 flat ones I tend to use when I'm trimming pots on the foot ring. But I also will use them as background sometimes if I'm carving leaves and branches and stuff. I want to get rid of some of the excess clay in the background. I will use those as well for carving. So, let's see, those are the Kemper ones. I have tried another company's aluminum ones because they're cheaper, right? And I just didn't like them as much because what happens is the stainless steel ones will actually stay pretty sharp all the way through as you're using them, but the aluminum ones tend to smooth out and get a bit rounded so they don't cut through the clay as well as the stainless steel ones. So I definitely recommend the stainless steel ones. Same with needle tools. All the ceramic tool companies make needle tools. I'm not particular about that one. I do like a stainless steel needle though. I think the metal ones always have probably aluminum handles, so that doesn't really matter. But you just want to make sure it's got a nice stiff needle, so I like the stainless steel ones. The wooden handle ones are also actually really good for when you're throwing, because when you throw it into your throwing water, it'll float. Whereas if you accidentally put the metal handle ones in face down and then you reach into your water, you can stab yourself, and that's very painful. So that's the benefit of the wooden ones, but I do like the way that these feel a little bit more like a pencil. I like that feeling when I'm carving. Also, speaking of the handle, I use these Shiem ones as well. I like these also. They've got a nice rubber grip, so that's easier on your hands. The only reason I don't tend to pick these up as much as the Kemper ones is because if you look at the triangle, it's not quite as sharp as the Kemper one, and I just prefer the line that the Kemper one gives with that really sharp triangle. But those are really good tools as well, and they have a flat stainless steel ribbon also. And speaking of the cushioning on your finger, you'll see in pretty much all of my videos that I have a band-aid over this one finger, and that's because you can actually see that over time I've kind of developed a little bump right here, and I wish that I'd realized that much earlier in my ceramic journey. I now always protect my finger with a band-aid when I'm carving because that's right where the metal grip rests on my finger. And so a band-aid will have that cushioning where the bandage is and then wrap it around. And that's very helpful. And so that's less painful, and it also protects it. So that's why I always have a band-aid on my finger in those videos, and not because I've cut myself. Okay, let's see. I also have this little wire stylus from Kemper. It's the Kemper WS wire stylus. That's really good for really, really fine lines or cleaning things up, like fine cuts for cleaning things up. And then I also use this little Kemper kind of like ball tip one. It's got 2 ends, a big one and a little one, or a little one and a tiny one. And that's the Kemper DBS. And that's good for smoothing out little sections or poking holes that you don't want to go all the way through. And if you don't want like the point of a wire, a needle tool. Let's see. The other thing to be aware of when you're looking at those ribbon tools is that the ribbon tools are flat, okay? And that's really good. I like that because it cuts through the clay really well. Kemper also makes a line of tools. This is the WLS, but the problem with these ones is they're a rounded wire, and so it's a looped wire. So it's rounded rather than flat, I mean, I realize these are different shapes, but it's actually the like cross section that's an issue. And these actually push the clay around rather than cut through them. So I much prefer the stainless steel ribbon tools versus the wire tools. Okay, let's see. I also use these rubber tipped tools. I have a few of them. I don't know what brand these ones are, but I mostly just use the rounded one with the pointy tip. And I also have this one as well. It's a smaller one. It's double-sided and has a flat end on the other side. I do use that as well. And this is the Amico TPCR number 2. And that's when you make a cut and then you realize that you did not intend to make that cut or make it that deep or whatever, and you want to put it back and smooth it back down, which is lovely that it's possible because you're using leather hard clay. So you just, when you have regrets, you just smooth it back down, and that's what those are for. Okay, I think that's everything, so I will go ahead and do a quick demo. Somebody asked me about the thickness of the mugs. This is one of the thicker ones that I would say that I have, but it's still, I don't know, a few millimeters. When you're carving, the thing about carving is just don't be afraid to do it. Just try it. It's just clay, right? Don't be too attached to any particular piece, and you don't have to fire everything, right? And if you mess up on a piece, just use it for practice. So, a good thing to do, especially if you're new to it, is to put one hand on the inside, and that way you can kind of like, it's same as when you're judging, or when you're throwing, you can kind of judge how thick a piece is, and you can feel it as you're carving. Like if you're feeling you're carving too deep, okay? So your hand will kind of be kind of your judge there. But also, if you have your hand on the other side, you can immediately tell if you've carved through, and then you want to stop right there because you don't want to carve that piece off if you've poked through. You can smooth that down with one of the rubber tools. Okay, so I'll give you a quick little demo. So the needle tool I will use to outline what I'm going to do. So let's just do something that you've all seen me do before, and that's just this really basic petal design. And I'll just do a couple of those, go up a little bit, and then maybe another one here. It doesn't have to be perfect because I'm going to carve through. And then let's put like a leaf here, and then a leaf here. Okay, so that's just like a quick guideline for me. And then I'm going to go in with my triangle tool. This is the Kemper triangle tool. And carve in. And this cut is going to be the deepest of all the cuts that I'm putting in. And that way, after I carve through right at the beginning, I don't have to worry about poking through the piece. Because it's really devastating. I mean, it's less devastating if you do it now, but it's really devastating to be almost done with a piece that you've spent hours on and then just poke right through it, right? So that leaves these nice thick cuts. And then, whoop, can you still see? Still going. And then let's get those two leaves outlined. Okay, so this tool is also really good for using its flat surface. So now it's just like a deep crevice. I want to get in there and get rid of some of the clay in between here, like that. And you'll notice I don't go any deeper than my original cut. Alright, so then we'll take one of my loop tools. If I want to carve out some of that petal, so I just zoop right up. And that makes a nice rounded valley. And so there's a petal. And then if I want to do a leaf, I can go ahead and take the triangle again and go right up the middle. And if you lift it up as you're going, it kind of tapers out. And then again, either the big or the small loop. Same thing, but this time do it a little bit further apart. And you lift it up before you get to the end. And you get kind of like a leaf texture. So those are my favorite tools. Alright, so now that I've done that demo, I guess it means that my very favorite tools of all the ones I've just shown you are the needle tool, the large triangle, and the circle. So that is my essentials for carving. Everything else, also very helpful, but these are my favorite. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.